Good people do not need laws to tell them to act responsibly, while bad people will find a way around the laws. But let's get into it on the Derek O'Shea Show. Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show, where we discuss culture, news, politics, and more. Sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the show. Be sure to tell your friends and family about the revolution. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show. Thank you guys so much for taking time in your day to hang out with me. It means a lot to me. If you don't mind sharing this with all your friends and family and tell them about the Derek O'Shea Show, literally run up to their face and scream at them. The Derek O'Shea Show, you gotta watch it. If you want to support my show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show. Buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show. I saw this news clip and news articles going around about a school trading vaccination for pizza? Let's watch this.
Even though the vaccine mandate for LAUSD doesn't go into effect until January 10th, some parents tell us that they believe their kids are being pressured into getting the jab.
I should have been involved.
Maribel Duarte says her 13-year-old son...
Okay, before we get into this, sorry. Sometimes I gotta stop the video. If I hear the jab one more time, I'm going to lose my crap. Just the jab. I got to get the jab. Sorry.
Even though the vaccine mandate for LAUSD doesn't go into effect until January 10th, some parents tell us that they believe their kids are being pressured into getting the jab.
I should have been involved.
Maribel Duarte says her 13-year-old son, a student at the Barack Obama Global Prep Academy in South LA, brought home this vaccine card after having accepted the COVID-19 vaccine at school. She says he said yes when
look at this vaccine card. He's got 2 doses. All right? He didn't get 1 shot and then cry to his mommy. He's got 2 doses. 2 different times, set apart. Almost looks like it writes pizza right there instead of Pfizer. But let's keep listening to the story. I think that's important to notice is that the fact that there's 2 doses and the mom is now freaking out about it. Where were you on the first dose?
The Barack Obama Global Prep Academy in South LA brought home this vaccine card after having accepted the COVID-19 vaccine at school. She says he said yes when someone offered it in exchange for pizza.
The lady that gave him the shot and signed the paper was the one that told my son, please do not say anything. I don't want to get in trouble.
So creepy.
LAUSD says student matters are confidential and wouldn't comment specifically, but did say its Safe Schools to Safe Steps incentive program is meant to ensure several steps are in place for vaccinated students to receive prizes. Duarte says she's not against the vaccine. She's vaccinated herself, but it's different with her son.
In regarding my son's health, I am against it.
Because he's got some underlying conditions that concern you?
Yes. He has problems with asthma and allergy problems.
All right. There's something important to see in this story, and it's right here. See, I was looking up the laws of consent in California. I think it's important for you to know what the state you currently live in and the laws of consent. It's very important. It's for as minors and ages because lawmakers have been pushing the age lower and lower and lower for a lot of sexually explicit content, for consent medically, stuff with like gender and everything like that. You should be very, very, very aware of the consent laws in your state, especially if you're sending your children to public school. Because I looked up the consent laws in California, and it looks, from what I was reading, it looks like it's 12 or older. All right? I'm not a lawmaker. I'm not a lawyer, so don't take my word on it. Go look up for yourself. As I always say, you can listen to me, but also double check for yourself because sometimes I get stuff wrong because guess what? I'm human. But what I looked up, 12 or older looks like the medical consent laws. That's why it says all students 12 or older must be vaccinated. Pick up a consent form in room 170. This is a story about not only the vaccinations and kids in public schools, but also Loudoun County and parents finally waking up and realizing the power public school has on your children. They have a ton of power, especially with these consent laws where they can tell your children things and ask your children to open up about some stuff that they don't even legally have to tell you about. You should be very, very aware of the consent laws in your state, especially if you're sending your children to public schools. See, these people see these vaccinations as they're doing the Lord's work. And so they will do whatever it takes. These people see vaccinations as A, the only way to health, and B, they're literally saving lives. So if you have, imagine you're one of them. Imagine you feel like there is a way that there are all these people out here in the world that are just not listening to the science. They're not listening to these great advice, these truth tellers, and they're just in their conspiracy bubbles and they won't wake up. And there are these children that are being affected by these conspiracy theories, and they are just being told what their parents to do. And there's an opportunity for you as an adult to potentially save their lives by giving them a vaccine. That's why they're doing it. They feel like they're doing the Lord's work. They feel like they're following the guide. They're following the religion. They're following the science. They're following their truth, their path. They're making disciples. So when I saw people like freaking out about this, yes, you should freak out. But you should also, as a human, as an adult, know the laws of your land and be very aware of it. They're pushing consent laws lower and lower. And especially in public schools, with counseling, with medical procedures. There are some states with medical procedures that you can go and get a gender reassignment surgery without even having to freaking tell your parents. So this new segment, this little segment that I'm putting out right now is a plea to you. If you have kids, if you're thinking about having kids, and you live in a state, you need to be very aware of these laws. Because these teachers, counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists, doctors, they can do things to your kids without you knowing. And I've worked with a lot of kids, all right? And kids can say and think some crazy things. And if there's an adult in there saying, yeah, what you're feeling is correct. I do want to help you. Here is the vaccination. Here's for pizza. I don't know what happened. This kid could have been pressured by the teachers. They could have been making fun of the parents behind their back. It could have been, their friends pressuring. It could be they just want pizza. I don't know. There's a whole gamut of array. I know, like, immediately a lot of us will go to the most egregious possible circumstance of, like, a demonic teacher walking up and screaming into the kid's face, saying, "You need to get vaccinated. What are you going to do?" Be wary of these laws. They're real. They can affect your children. And instead of when it happens to you, and you go, "I can't believe a teacher would do this," and they're like, "Well, you voted for this. This is part of what's going on in the world. You need to be aware." And it might push you to do homeschool, prep school, homeschool, pod school. I don't know. But there's a strong stuff like this, and the stuff like the CRT and the vaccinations are just a continuous push for homeschool to be the answer. Because you have grown adults with different ideas, different philosophies, maybe even private school, have different philosophies, different ways. I don't even know if private school at this point. I've heard some horror stories coming out of private schools lately about counselors and teachers putting all kinds of stuff, telling their kids all kinds of stuff that you would think would not happen in a $40,000 a year private school. Not at my school. God! Be aware of your consent laws and hold your teachers accountable, hold your counselors accountable, your psychiatrists, your psychologist accountable for what goes on in these schools. Because a lot of these people believe completely different than you. And so, and based on the consent laws, they have a lot of leeway. They have a lot of power over your children, and you have no power to deal with it because, I don't know, I'm just an adult. I work my 9-to-5 job, or I work my job and I get off and I'm just so tired. I don't want to get involved in my kid's life or know anything of what goes on in the schools because I don't have time for that. I'm so exhausted, and I get that. I hear that. I completely hear that. But don't freak out when your kid comes home with some kind of procedure and you're like, how did this happen? You're a kid. You shouldn't have this power. These adults shouldn't have this power over you. Well, you didn't look up the laws and you weren't wary of what's going on. You need to know the laws. And instead of being surprised at stuff like this, seriously, these people are thinking they're doing the Lord's work. This is their religion. This is their God. This is their way of making redemption. This is their way of getting more crowns on their jewel when they get to heaven. This is their way of healing the land, of bringing peace to the world. This is the way in which they find redemption and find wholeness, find holiness, and create a community of believers like them. This is the way. Let me know your thoughts on this, and I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on the Derek O'Shea Show. I'll probably have another story out later, but I saw this story and I was like, this is insane because I completely disagree with it. Obviously, because I'm a human being, I don't think kids should be in charge of stuff like this. I think consent laws should be like 18 or older, or you'll leave the house, but they're a lot lower in states. And there are a lot of kids have a lot of power in today's world that maybe you don't even realize how much power they have. And when people are whispering in their ears, they can come up and do some really stupid stuff that will affect them potentially for a long time. Let me know your thoughts on this. I hope you guys have a freaking fantastic day. As always, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe and tell your friends and family about the show. And if you want to support my show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show. The link is in the show description notes. I would greatly appreciate it. Have a freaking fantastic day. Again, if you're like, I'm poor, Derek. I don't have a lot of money. I don't know what's going on. Just share this with your friends and family. Guys like me appreciate it. Have a great day. And as always, I'll catch you on the next episode of the Derek O'Shea Show.